Hi, this is Krista at The Secret Yarnery. Welcome to our chit chat, talk, and showing off of Sadai, the best lion pattern from Animal Heads to Crochet, or Animal Heads, Trophy Heads to Crochet from Vanessa Mooncie. Isn't he grand? I'm so in love with him. So I just wanted to make a separate video other than my podcast to just talk about him and share what a great book that is. I should get my book over here too. Of course, I'm not that prepared. He's really big. I used a 4.5. Let me get my glasses. I used a 4.5 millimeter hook to make him. I think the recipe, the book calls for a 4 millimeter, but I also used craft yarn and baby alpaca mohair woven with it. So he has like a hairy kind of feel. You can see the fuzz. And then for the cheeks, I used a lighter color mixed with the same mohair or baby alpaca. And I also did a little white triangle on each of the cheeks. So I changed yarn for this section when I was doing the round little dome that goes on for his cheeks. Oh, I love him so much. And I stitched this in with white. I don't think that was in the pattern. And I stitched that in with the chocolate brown. So, and I did different eyes. I started with the pattern and I followed the pattern exactly to make the shape, and then I really stuffed it a lot. My husband came in and said it was too small, it's not a lion. And then I noticed like he held it up to his head and he was like, yeah, that's not a lion, and he walked off and I was like, what's he doing? But he was like born in Kenya. He's been on safari like so many times, it's ridiculous. He's seen so many lions. Anyway, I guess if you go like this and the lion can't eat your head, it's not a lion. So I'm like, okay, so I stuffed it to death and now the lion could eat my head. That's how you know it's a lion. Anyway, it's really heavy. I used, for the backing, because I was in a rush, because you know when you get wanting to do something, you just want to do it with what you have at home. So I used the bottom of a bucket. I just took an X-Acto knife and cut the bottom of a bucket off to make the insert for inside here. And then the mane is a whole bunch of fabulous yarns that I did in different sizes. So the back is the long, and check out that hair. Isn't that great? I love that yarn. So pretty. So I did dark at the back, and I didn't do a specific number of rows, and I just did it till till I felt like it. And then I mixed it half-half with the color in the front, and then I just went to the color in the front. And to hang it, I just took a keychain thingy, like the metal ring from a keychain, and crocheted around it to make it covered and then stitched it on. So nothing fancy. And he works great. I also changed the front. I made these much shorter in the front than in the book. That was my husband's inspiration too, because he kept coming and pushing the hair up and being like, I guess it's a lion. Because in the book, the hair kind of falls down like bangs. And he's like, no, it doesn't. So I was like, okay, good point. I'll do what he says. So that was really good. And then I got eyes from Amazon. They are lion eyes. I'll put a link in the description box. They're 30 millimeters, so 3 centimeters across. And I just used an eyelash to go on the eyelid, and then I had to make a proper socket so that the eye is looking forward instead of up. So now I'm happy with him. He's great. He's heavy. I'm like out of breath from cuddling with him, but he's great. So I followed the pattern exactly in the book until I got to the cheeks and the eyes and this little part of the mane. This one I just gave it a haircut. And this I just changed, did it my own way. So how I did the mane, well, let me show you the eye. My version of her eye, which I stopped making when I didn't like it. That is supposed to be the eye. Starting of the eye. And then there's going to be a little eyelid on there, but I was like, no, I didn't like it. It's kind of supposed to be like that. You can use different colors, of course. But that's when I got on Amazon and got me some good old eyes. So these eyes are just like flat. I'm sure I have some to show you. Let me get them. Didn't even have to go far, they were right here. I got 2 pair just in case. So they're just a glass eye. Try to get it to focus on eye. So it's and then the little glass marble is stuck into a silver base. So I got that. I got 2 of those. I got bigger ones as well, but I think these ones are a good size. So I use those ones. And then to do the mane, come hang out, co-host. I went into my bookshelves and I got a variety of different sizes of books. So I got my measuring tape and I measured each book. I think the biggest one is 17 centimeters or 17 inches around, and then 15 and 13 and 11 and 9 to make the different size tassels. So I just wound the yarn around the book and then cut it. Fuzz on me now. And then cut it in that groove up there. That's where I would slide my scissors to cut the tassels, and then lay it open in a, isn't that a great book? Vintage. Lay it out in a whip basket and then just use them to make the mane. And I also went into every stitch, you can't really see, but in the book says to skip, really a hair, to skip every other stitch. So to do it half-half, like into a stitch, skip a stitch, into the next stitch, skip a stitch, all the way around. But I went into every stitch because a lion should be magnificent and totally fabulous. So I think he is fabulous. We call him Sadai. Sadai is, he's a lion in real life in the Masai Mara, which is the African savanna in Kenya, or it's the Kenya part of the Serengeti, is the other proper term for it, but we call it Masai Mara. And he's the lion with the most beautiful mane in the entire savanna, or Masai Mara. So he is very famous, and we named my lion Sadai after him because of his mane. So I'm really happy with how he turned out. What else did I want to tell you? So making the head and the pieces actually didn't take that long. It's just you actually have to follow a pattern, which if you're good at taking instruction does not take a long time. If you're lousy at taking instruction and just want to do your own thing all the time, it takes a long time. That being said, it probably took, if I was actually doing it, maybe 3 days of crocheting, just because you take a break and then you don't want to do it all the time. I think doing these back circles took the longest because it was so I don't want to say boring, but pretty boring. And you make 2 of these circles and then you sandwich the backboard in between. So this was the part that took the longest for me. Well, in my head, it felt like the longest. And then the mane, this took me 3 days. 3 days. I watched Beach Home Hunters, Island Escapes, Island Hunters, Island Home Hunters, Hawaii Life. I just had on our Lifetime channel, or Fine Living, I guess it's called here, and I just crocheted for 3 days. Oh, but I'm so happy with how he turned out. And then it took a while to adjust the eyes. because I had to get these from the States and wait. So you could probably have it done in like a week or two if you were dedicated. But I don't know, I just think he's great. So I highly recommend the book. The book is good. The only flaws in the book, let me get the book. The only thing that I found awkward or frustrating in the book was, yes, those are my children. When it tells you to do the back panel, it sends you to like 3 different pages or 4 different pages. And that is the lion in the book, what it's supposed to look like. So I'm happy with mine. So the only thing I didn't really like is how it tells you to skip around on the pages. I know it did it for the lion, the background bit. So that is the eye in the book. That's how it's supposed to turn out. Still cute. And I'm trying to see where to do the base. Okay, here we go. So then to do the base, this page here, it says rounds 18 to 19 are on this page. For rounds 1 to 17, follow the chart for the base of the swan on page 88. Okay, fine. So you go to page 88. And here is the base for the chart. Here's the chart for the base. And it says, this is rounds 12 to 25. It says for rounds 1 to 11, follow the chart for the head. So you're like, oh, okay, where's the chart for the head? So then you have to go back through the swan pattern and find the chart for the front of the head. So already you're slowed down because you're like, not, oh, here it is. So this is on page 76. So you have to go through from page 88 to 76. You have to flip back 12 pages to find that chart. So for rounds 1 to 18, it's actually on page 76. And then for 19 to 25 is on page 88, but it doesn't tell you that. You have to skip through, and then if you stop, which is probably why that knocked me back and I stopped working on it for a while, you forget which chart you're supposed to follow. Are you following the head for the swan, the base for the swan, or the base for the lion? Because there's like 3 different sections, 3 different pages. So that I would change if I was writing the book. That being said, there's no other book out there with these patterns that are that great. It's impossible. She's done great work. It's in UK terminology, so she says double crochet and it's single, but just about the entire lion is single crochet, so you don't really get it in your head, like, is it double or is it a single? If you do American terminology like I do, because you know it's a lion, it's going to be single crochet. So it's pretty much just counting the stitches, like you're doing this many stitches and you're increasing and doing this and that. So I have no problem with that. Just flipping back to make the back piece 2 pieces was a bit tedious for me. But that's being fussy. That's the only negative thing I have to say. The rest is great. And I'll put a link to this in the description box below, as well as to the eyes that you can buy on Amazon as well. And I also found a link to how to paint these yourself. If you buy the glass marbly thing, you can paint your own eyes with nail polish, which I would have done if I had the glass things, but I didn't either. So that is everything I'll put in the description box. And get back up here. And this is Sadai. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please like, subscribe, and share. And if you've made any of these great trophy animal heads, I'd love to see them. Please post them on our Facebook group or Ravelry. And thank you so much for watching. Stay hooked.